Well, hello. Welcome back to another exciting edition of Coffee with Stephen. So, this week's blog is entitled The Little Drummer. And it's somewhat tangentially, I guess, a riff on Jean Le Carre's book, The Little Drummer Girl. Um, in the blog, I talk about kind of an important event that took place in my life back in 1989 when I was a student at the University of San Francisco. Uh, I happened to be in my dorm room with the television on in the background when the news broke in and they were announcing that the Berlin Wall was basically about to be torn down. Um, this set my little world of academia somewhat on end. I was studying political science with a specific focus on international politics, and everything that we had learned about our international sort of nation state regime, certainly everything that we had focused on during the Cold War, was now effectively being upended. Um, but this sort of developed an entire unique form of scholarship in and of itself. There were a lot of predictions of what would happen with the essentially the breakup of a dichotomy between the United States and the Soviet Union. There was the argument that there would be a peace dividend. That was kind of utopian thinking, now wasn't it? Um, but one of my professors was talking about the fact that chaos oftentimes breeds military adventurism. Whether that's domestic chaos, whether that's international chaos, but weakness oftentimes will be an encouragement on one belligerent to move forward against another. Oftentimes, weakness, internal weakness, domestic weakness, could be a justification for military adventurism to sort of sway public opinion away from the marginalized people in their society that are clamoring for change. Um, that is kind of what I'm seeing right now. Now, one of the parts of the book, the main character in the Little Drummer Girl, Martin, who is an Israeli spy master, is having a conversation with Charlie. They've just wrapped up their adventure. And there's a realization that all of the work that they've done in taking down this terrorist cell that's been killing all these people is potentially have been for naught because there continues to be bombing, even though the cell has been taken out. And Martin says to her, and I think it's a really insightful statement. He says, "You can kill the person, but the devil will simply find another person." And that is sort of what we're seeing right now. We in the gun community have been fighting against authoritarianism and a restriction of our individual liberties for years and years and years. We recently got a Supreme Court decision, full on articulation of what the state can do and what the state cannot do vis a vis restricting our rights. And yet in California and at the federal level, there seems to be a wholesale abandonment of judicial review. They simply don't particularly care. And as such, they're trying to promulgate legislation which is by definition unconstitutional. There is some argument to be made that their very act may actually be a form of treason and criminal in and of itself. But we'll get into that on a deeper analysis on a later blog. In any event, I do encourage you to read the blog as opposed to just watching me in the video. That will come out on Wednesday morning, of course, at our website at artemishq.com. As always, I want you to train constantly, train consistently, train repetitively, and train with purpose. Above all else, stay safe.